today we're going to look at how we can use Excel to do some statistics crunching for us. So I've already went ahead and entered my data, my observed data. We're going to be looking at the chi-square test and deciding whether the observed value is accurate or not in comparison to our expected value. So my data is comparing the highest level of educational achievement to their primary source of news. And here is my data, and here are my totals. So to calculate the expected value, we want to take the row total, multiply it by the column total, and divide by the total. So here, in this block here, we're going to go ahead and enter our row total, but we don't want to forget our parentheses, and multiply by our column total, and divide that number by our total. There you go. We're going to hit enter. And as you can see, it calculated a value for us. Now, to make our lives easier, we want to be able to drag this equation across here so that we don't have to enter this equation every time. So, but we aren't going to want the row total to change on us. So we're going to insert a $sign here, and we don't want the total to change on us either. So we're going to insert a $sign here, and the $sign keeps those values from changing. So we want to go ahead and drag that across. And as you can see, it calculated our totals for us. And the only value that changed was our column total. So then we can't drag this down. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to have to manually enter the equation again. Here for this one, we will select our total, our row total, multiply that by our column total, and divide that number by our total right here. And then we'll go ahead and insert our $signs to keep these values from changing. And then we will drag this value across. And we are going to do this for each of the remaining ones, but for the sake of time, and since I have a time limit on this video, I'm going to do that without you seeing. So hopefully you've seen enough that you can do it on your own. As you can see, I've done the same procedure that I did for the first 2 rows and completed that for the remaining 3 rows and columns, and we now have our expected value table. The chi-squared test is already a Excel function, so to get it to calculate the chi test, we are just going to set up the equation and type in the command, which then pops up. Then, since the chi-squared test compares our observed value to our expected values, we're just going to highlight that table, put a comma in there, and then highlight our expected table, and close our parentheses. Then we're going to hit enter, and it calculated our chi-squared test. And since we determine whether the chi-squared test is valid or not based on the value it gives us, we want to subtract that value from 1. So we're just going to subtract that value. And as you can see, we got 1, and as you can see, we got 1 as the value, so that is the value that you get when you complete the chi-square test for this group of data, and that is how you do the chi-square test in Excel. And hopefully this will help you in your teaching and keep you from having to do so much number crunching.